we good? Okay. Slide out the way. Okay, it's 5:30. We're going to start with our emotional regulation, our deep breathing. I'm going to count you in descending order 3, 2, 1. And then you're going to inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. Then I will slide back into the screenshot and we will get this neural party started. 3, 2, 1. Coming back in the shot. Good morning. All right. Good morning. It is me, Dr. Donna Thomas-Rodgers, daughter of Leslie Darnell Thomas, granddaughter of Arthur Jethro Evelyn II, and great-granddaughter of Levi Thomas. Welcome to your morning mental workout. Today's topic is be forward thinking. But before we get into that, this live is sponsored by The Elements H2O. Ensure that you have some water readily available because throughout I'm going to say, drink water, and you're going to drink water. Something that I learned when I was training privates back in basic training, when they were in basic training in 97 and 98. Your brain is 75% water and it needs hydration, especially if you are on the West Coast and you have just woken up. You slept and your body is already dehydrated. So today we are talking about be forward thinking. It is my 698th day consecutively live, and it is the 56th principle of real leadership in chronological order, and it is be forward thinking. The Dr. Donna quote that we are using to bring us into this live is, forward thinking is not a wish. Good morning, Jared. It is a disciplined process of vision, preparation, and courageous action. I'm going to say that again. Forward thinking is not a wish. It is a disciplined process of vision, preparation, and courageous action. You can't forward think if you are not courageous. It's impossible. Amy and Lala want you to stay right here, right now, in immediate gratification in your comfort zone. So to be a forward thinker, for me to say I'm going to be a Nobel laureate and I'm going to get it in physiology, and it's the only entity that I'm following on any social media platform because they're getting ready to announce who those laureates are, is me saying it now. 2 levels up is a process that I learned when I was in the military, and that means that if you are a second lieutenant, you behave and act like a captain. If you're a captain, you behave and act like a colonel. If you're a colonel, you behave and act like a brigadier or a major general, depending on how long you want to stay. But it is forward thinking. I have to be forward thinking. Otherwise, we're not going to get there. And then you won't get where you need to be because I won't be forward thinking. And you've chosen to follow this process as you learn how to tap into your own badassness. So you need to be forward thinking. And what you need in order to be forward thinking is neurons. I said it. Neurons. Good morning. So you need neurons in order to be forward thinking. Because what do you need to think with? What do you think with? You think with neurons. The cells come together and it creates synaptic connections, and then that creates neural pathways, and you use those neural pathways for skill development and everything else. So if you're going to be forward thinking, you're going to think, you need neurons and you need a strong prefrontal cortex. Those are the tools. If you have a tool belt and you're going to put something together, those are the tools that you need to be forward thinking. Forward thinking can't happen in the limbic system with Amy and Lala. It will not happen. Good morning, Lola. There's no way that it will take place. So forward thinking happens in the prefrontal cortex, in the executive function of the brain, in order for you to say, what am I thinking forward about? So are we clear on the real leader resources and tools that you need? You need some neurons. They turn into neural pathways, and you need your prefrontal cortex along with the other brain regions, but that's the CEO. The executive function is the CEO of the brain. With that being said, here is my definition of the principle of real leadership: be forward thinking. So, to be forward thinking is to move beyond the limits of the present and set your mind on what is possible for tomorrow and beyond. So, you are not limited by what you currently see, but you are setting your mind on what is possible tomorrow and beyond. So, that takes some neural pathways to do. That takes some, I'm not going to listen to anything negative that's going to stop me. You have to be neural clear in order for you to be forward thinking. It means seeing past obstacles. And we know that one of the 74 principles of real leadership is to remove obstacles. And so you have to see past those obstacles and imagine solutions that others have yet considered. That means that someone else is not considering it. Make it better, make it cheaper if you're in business, or create, risk take, and dent make, and create something that isn't here. To my knowledge, and I reserve the right to be corrected, and I'm okay, there isn't someone that currently exists that is teaching the brain to everyday people so that you can become extraordinary. You can become extraordinary, not so you can read a book faster, not so you can get your default mode network in control, but is literally saying, study the brain, master the brain, teach others how to do the same so that the people in the world will forever be changed. Everyday people saying, you can be extraordinary. Here's how you become extraordinary. You just need to tap into your 86 billion neurons. So that is me being forward thinking. Now, forward thinkers use their real leader brain to anticipate needs, prepare for change, and position themselves and others for future success. So you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for the people that are around you too. And that preparation is key. Don't do anything without a why. Don't even go to your kitchen for a snack without a why. Don't do it. If you can't think of what you're going to eat, sit on your hands until you can. And don't do anything without a strategy. Why am I going to get a snack? Because I'm hungry. What snack am I going to get? And that allows you to be prepared. And so when you do those simple things daily, now you can use that same methodology of don't do anything for a why and do without a why or a strategy. And now you can become a forward thinker. Now, when you're trying to do, or not trying, when you're becoming a forward thinker, until you really get that neural pathway cemented in your mind, you will experience doubt. You will experience fear. You will experience growing pains. That's part of the process. It's natural. You're going to say, dang, I don't know. You're going to experience cognitive overload. I had to go do this. When I started my neuroscience class and they started doing doggone chemistry and physics, I was like, okay, I did chemistry in college. That was in 1999. It's 2025. What you say? What I'm about to do? You got away. Okay, great. Welcome, Bridget. And so you are going to experience all of that, but that's part of the growth process. That is part of the growth process. And know that pain, in this instance, I'm going to use what I learned in the military. Pain is just weakness leaving the brain instead of the body. That's all it is. Discomfort is saying I'm pruning that pleasure neural pathway and I'm building and strengthening my resilience, my personal accountability, and my self-reliance. That's what I'm doing. So this principle calls for courage. It calls for courage. And there was I forgot what I was talking about, but like 2 weeks ago, when you attack Amy and Lala and tell them sit down, be humble, you strengthen your courage and you quiet your fear. You strengthen your courage. Every time you strengthen you do a neural real leader rep of something, you are strengthening your prefrontal cortex and you are quieting your fear. And that takes courage. It takes creativity and it takes clarity. And remember, we just talked about being neural clear. And that came from when I was in the military. We do nuclear, biological, chemical training. And as a result, when it was we gave the all clear sign. I got to remember what that was. I think it's this. And now you can take off all your mop gear. So your brain can't thrive in a neurotoxic environment, not even a little bit, not even tear gas. That's enough for the brain to be like, oh, what is that? So you need to be neural clear so that you can tap into your creativity. And knowing that real leadership is not about reaching, but about proactively creating the path ahead. I am proactively creating neuropability every single day so that as you follow me, now that path is there. And then you all will then create branches to that path. And now the next thing you know, everybody in the world, all 5.9 billion adults are holding themselves personally accountable, and now they have mastered their brain. And who knows what we are going to be able to accomplish as humanity when that day happens. And then finally, real leaders who are forward thinking shape the future instead of being shaped by it. I'm going to say that again. You can shape the future instead of being shaped by it. I am actively creating neuropability, and I haven't said that in a very long time. So neuropability is what I created, and it is neurogenesis plus neuroplasticity plus the theory of personal accountability. So you put all those together and you have neuropability. And I said it on TikTok Live, and I've been remiss and I haven't said it in a while. But what it is you are creating the neurons to fire and wire to create neuroplasticity. You combine that with the theory of personal accountability and the 74 principles, and what you end up doing is creating unlimited neural pathways to use the principles of real leadership on a daily basis. So Jared, when you sent us your goals, and Envy the same thing, and I did it yesterday, when you all challenged yourselves with the discomfort, when you woke up, you had a message from me telling you all the principles of real leadership that you did. That's neuropability. So you're creating this fire and wire existence, and now you're implementing the principles of real leadership to go and do these things. So the objective is for you to wake up every day and say, okay, I need to use this in your working memory. I need to use these 4 principles of real leadership to get that done. I need to use these 3 principles of real leadership to get that done. And now by doing that, you're creating even more neural pathways. And that's how you get to use your 86 billion neurons. Let me know if I've answered your question. So real leaders are forward thinkers, and they shape the future instead of being shaped by it. So as I mentioned on my TikTok Live this morning, if you are in your comfort zone with your comfort crutches, your environment is being shaped for you. That means you are just like, I don't really care. I'm not making any decisions that have nothing to do with, if it doesn't have anything to do with pleasure, I don't want any parts of it. But then you experience a different kind of pain. So when you choose crutches, comfort crutches in a comfort zone, good morning, Regina, what happens is now things are taking place in your life that you don't like, as they should, because you have opted for pleasure. So you have a job you don't like, children go to school that they don't like, and everything else because of your unwillingness to do something different. So you're going to get an environment that you're in and you wake up to every day. The choice is it the question is it the one that you created or the one that was created for you? That's what you have to do. So when you sacrifice the growing pains, now you're just experiencing comfort pains. I'm going to write that down. Comfort pains. Because it's still uncomfortable. You just become accustomed to it, and you just start accepting that comfort, that discomfort. You say, well, that's just the way it is. That's just the way life is. No, that's the way your life is. That's what's happening for you because you have chosen comfort. So it's still going to be discomfort. It's just a matter of if it's purposeful discomfort as you grow through a situation, or stuck discomfort as you sit in your stuck situation. Those are your options. That's it. Because in your comfort zone, it's not always, to quote Sheree, berries and cherries. It's not. It's just, and how do I know? How do you know that, Dr. Donna? Because people still complain. People that are in growth opportunities complain less. I actually just go, damn, this shit is hard. All right, get back at it, Doc. But when you are in your comfort zone that you willingly chose pleasure over growth, now you're complaining. I go to the grocery store in the morning. I like going when the produce is fresh and everything is still neat in order. And when no one is there, the cashiers will be complaining about something. The people who are putting the stock back on the shelf, they will be complaining about something. There's always a Starbucks or something in the grocery stores that we go to, and they will be sitting at the table, even at Whole Foods, outside. And then she said, I'm like, how's that comfort working out for you? Bravo. You chose comfort, and now look at what happened. I still have it. Give me 1 second. So that's what's taking place because of the lack of forward thinking. So I suggest that you use the principle of real leadership and be a forward thinker. And so the things that I'm experiencing are because of my growth. I'm experiencing it, but I know that I'm choosing this on purpose, and I still have a sense of fulfillment at the end of the day because I've learned something, and I learned what to do, what not to do, and I'm building a better mousetrap for tomorrow. Or in this case, I'm building better neural pathways for tomorrow to present a better version of myself today. That's the difference between being a real leader and knowing how your brain functions so that you can function better, and choosing comfort on the daily basis. So, what questions do you have about the definition of be a forward thinker? This is probably gonna be too hot. I'm not even about to do that to myself because it has not. It's only been 15 minutes. That's not gonna work. Unless to have a discussion, not do what questions do you have. Currently, are you a forward thinker? And Nola, can you do me a favor and check and make sure I turn the air back down? Because I think I didn't. I just need to know if I'm having a hot flash or if it's just hot in here. It's hot in here. No. Yes, definitely. I have said this before. I got between 15 and 20 years of ideas mapped out. Did you hear me about the air? The question on the table is, now I am more than ever. Are you a forward thinker? You want the air turned down? Yes, I want you to tell me if it's turned down. Remember, I turn it up when I'm doing my thing so it won't come on, but I don't recall turning it back down. And so I'm experiencing some heat, but I could just be having a hot flash. I just want to know which one it is. Okay. Okay, yes, 80. I'm putting it on 80. There we go. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so forward thinking. Are you a forward thinker? All right. And that's okay if you aren't, because you have to develop the neural pathways to be a forward thinker. It takes a lot to be a visionary. If you are just now exiting your comfort zone, the thought of thinking past today may be too much for you. And I will say that the more you strengthen your prefrontal cortex with your neural reps every single day on Instagram, what happens is these things start coming to you because you become more neural clear. So if you have any level of neurotoxicity, then you can't be neural clear, which means it's going to be very hard for you to be forward thinking because you can't think clearly. But the more you strengthen your prefrontal cortex daily, then you have the ability to get rid of the neurotoxicity, regulate Amy and Lala, and now you have the ability to become neural clear. Now you will access your personality, which is in your prefrontal cortex, and that will give you the ability to start saying, okay, now I have this vision, because visualize your goals and develop a vision are two of the principles of real leadership. Now you can go off and do those things, and now you will have a why. And you will know why you're getting up. And so you will say, I have my why, I have my goals. Jerry has his goals for the back half, the last quarter of the year. And so he can visualize that. So you can have short-term things that you can be forward thinking about. And then as Noah says, she's got ideas for 15 to 20 years out. Based upon her age, that's a good thing to be able to do. Because she, God willing, will be here for those things. So here are the 6 ways to be forward thinking. So in the event you don't have it, it's something that you need to start thinking about. Because the question is, why are you not forward thinking? What is taking place for you to go, well, dang, do I even know how to forward think? Why wouldn't I forward think? So here are 6 ways for you to be forward thinking. Number 1, visualize your future. So regularly ask yourself, where do I want to be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Well, then yes, you are. Okay, great, Bridget. Where do I want to be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? Where do I want to be? And then you can use different types of ways to do this visually. You can mind map it. You can write about it. You can put it on a whiteboard. That's what I have. But you want to keep them vivid and alive. You can even make it the desktop on your phone. And so my desktop on my phone is me with a brain t-shirt on, talking and doing different things. And then I just dropped it in Unfold, and that's the desktop for my phone. So every time I pick up my phone, I'm reminding myself of my mission and what it is that I'm doing. So you just need to see it every single day so you can remind yourself every single day, this is what I'm working on. Next, you can anticipate challenges. So you train your brain to scan for possible obstacles before they arise. And then so instead of having problems, you prepare for those obstacles. So you can say, okay, so for me, every day now I'm going live 3 times a day. I know my YouTube live is probably going to have no trolls or one troll. So I'm preparing for that. TikTok is getting better. And then back half of TikTok, they're getting better. So I have to say, okay, well, what am I going to do if there's an unaccountable person on the live? And I prepare for that because that could be an obstacle to my success. On YouTube, now I don't try to flip it so you can not see me and see that, because I did it once and it went green. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to look at me on the green screen, because that's not going to work for me. And then also what I do is I make sure that now I have my notes inside of my tablet, because before I was handwriting them and that was taking too long. So now this is an obstacle that I don't have. I'll look at my goals every single morning. Yes, you will. Yes, you do. And so you just want to be prepared. And so sometimes I over prepare for the live. I make adjustments because I'm like, okay, I talked too long on that. Let me switch over to here. I want to be able to make sure I have questions and time for that. So those are all things that I'm anticipating as obstacles so that I can continue to make sure that every single day I'm working towards the thing that I have for my forward thinking. Next is number 3, and you have to think in opportunities, not limitations. And this is difficult. This is actually challenging. So you have to see an opportunity in the midst of a shit show. You have to see that that's not a limitation. That's a growth opportunity, and you're going to get some skills and some information from that. So you replace that with this won't work with how could this work? This won't work to how could this work? So I say turn your can't into a can and your how into now. And this will allow forward thinkers to reframe barriers into possibilities. Now, one of the 74 principles of real leadership is that can makes the impossible possible. So when it looks like that can't be, when I was told you can't get your DTM in 18 months, I was already forward thinking, saying, yes, I can. I already ran mathematically. The fastest you can get it is 18 months, and that's what I'm going to do. And I have a very laid out plan in order to do that. And any obstacles that showed up during that time, I just worked around them, and I finished my goal, which was to become a distinguished Toastmaster in 18 months. Now, the next thing you need to do is invest in learning. Invest in learning. Invest in learning. So not going to conferences, because that's not actual learning, because it's over. It's quick. But daily learning, something that you have to learn every day. And we just talked about this on a TikTok live, because some people said they were going to read the books, and I said that that's not enough, because you can read and still not do anything that's in the book. And so there's a statement out there that says knowledge is power, and I say applied knowledge is power, because just because you have the knowledge doesn't mean that you're going to be powerful. So you have to apply whatever it is, the knowledge that you have, and that's how you access your power. And just reading a book is not going to make you powerful. It will make you knowledgeable, but that doesn't mean that you're going to apply what you read. That's the difference. And that's why I read books, and then I do book reviews, and then I send people those book reviews if they need them. Oh, here's a book review for that. Here's a book review for that. I didn't like that book, but here's the takeaway that I still got from that book. Here you go. So it is the applied knowledge that's actually going to give you new neurons, new fire and wire connections, and create a new neural pathway. And so you have to invest in your learning. You can't just sit somewhere and think somehow magically through osmosis that you're going to start creating new neural pathways. That's not how it's going to happen. If it's not a challenge for you, then you're not going to learn something new. So it has to be new information at a new higher level in order for you to get skill development, in order for you to actually learn. So forward-thinking leaders are lifelong learners who connect today's knowledge to tomorrow's possibility. So you have to become a lifelong learner. I became Dr. Donna in 2008. We are now in 2025. So that's 17 years later. I have not stopped learning, because I didn't put my thinking cap on in the drawer with my doggone diploma. It's right here with me. I bring my thinking cap everywhere that I go. So as a result of that, I am still learning. ABLing is always be learning. Anything. And so another mistake that people will make, especially if you're specialized, is you will say, I don't need to learn that. I'm a medical doctor, I don't need ChatGPT. I'm an engineer, I do need ChatGPT, but I don't need to know how to garden. But the brain is bilateral. So you have the left side, you have the right side, creative and logical. And when you do creative and logical things together, you strengthen the whole brain. So that's why there are graphics behind me that I made, because I need the information that I got and I need the graphics. And when you marry those together, now I am using my whole complete brain, and that's strengthening my creativity for innovation. And it's also strengthening my left side of my brain because of all the logic that takes place when I'm preparing for a live. So learning everything about everything. And then what it also allows you to do is embrace diversity, which is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership, because now you have a diverse group of information. So people think of diversity, they always think of the physical. But if you are an electrician and I am a nuclear physicist, we are diverse. If I am a pediatrician and you are a principal of a school, we are diverse, because the pediatrician is making sure the health of the children is there, but then the principal of the school is making sure that the education is there. So they have some similarities that overlap, but then they have different functions. If you decide to be a flight attendant and then I decide to be a sanitation engineer, we are in service industries, but we are serving two different groups of people for two different reasons. We come together and we're going to see things differently, but we marry those ideas, and now that's where innovation takes place. And when you are in the Real Leader chat, because you are subscribers, you all are having different interactions. Yesterday, Nola asked what your favorite TV show was, and that went, everybody's like, oh my God, I remember that, and I remember this, and I remember that. And you all had this nice little nucleus accumbens reward circuit loop that transpired from one simple question. Because of the difference in ages, backgrounds, and everything else, it was a very positive exchange. And think positive is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership. So when you say I'm a lifelong learner, if you don't know, ask is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. You ask people the question. Nola had a client who happened to be European American, blonde hair, blue eyes, and so I asked her a bunch of questions. I did. I wanted to know information, and she was willingly giving me information that I would have never had I not said yes to Nola's business and went on those appointments. There's so much information that I have from just talking to people in my day-to-day I would never have come in contact with. But I learned something at every appointment, what to do, what not to do, culturally, and all these other things, because I am a lifelong learner. And I didn't say I'm Dr. Donna. I know everything because I have a doctorate in education. Absolutely not. So definitely, in order for you to be a forward thinker, you have to be learning every single day. Charlie Munger said, go to sleep wiser than when you woke up. And that's a personal choice that you have to make. I will say this caveat. If you are seeking pleasure every day, you cannot be seeking learning every day, because learning is pain. Growing is pain. So learning something that you don't know requires asking questions, and that may be difficult for you. It may be painful for you to say, ooh, I got to look uninformed. I don't know if I'm going to, but that's how you learn and grow. So if you're seeking pleasure every single day, you can't learn anything else. You're like, nope, this is not part of my pleasure loop. I'm not going to get that information. Absolutely not. Next is practice mental flexibility. And then you're strengthening your prefrontal cortex with activities like problem solving, mindfulness, what if scenarios. I have questions for you inside of your Instagram subscriptions. I send graphics, motion graphics, quotes, videos, and everything else, because that is your mental fitness as well as your mental flexibility. So you should feel throughout your day, when you're interacting with all of the information that's over there, there's all these different circuits that's happening and wiring and firing. And then by the time you get to the end of your day, now you're saying, oh, wow, I learned this information. I didn't know that that person made that doorknob or any of those other things. I remember that. And I remember my favorite TV show. And then you have this otherworldly experience while you strengthened your prefrontal cortex. So you are, and be flexible is also one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. So you're doing fitness and flexibility so that you will be able to be nimble and strong simultaneously. And then number 6 is lead with courage. It takes courage for me to get up every day at 3 o'clock in the morning. I make a real leader brain and a PA for the day for people who are in real leader resources and those challenges. And then I start to prepare for the live. And then I do a TikTok live, and then I come over here and do a live, then I take my shower, then I go do appointments with Nola. And all of this takes courage because some of it didn't exist, some of it is here, but some of it isn't here yet. And so Nola and I are behind the scenes saying, okay, we get the app, what are we going to do with that? We do the game, what is all this? So there's this whole branding thing happening behind the scenes, and I'm still having to do everything that I do on a daily basis. And so that takes courage. So forward thinking requires risk taking. And take risk is one of the 74 principles of real leadership as well. So you don't wait for permission. You take initiative and you're willing to be the first to move. Somebody has to be the first person through the door, through the ceiling, through the window, through the wall, whatever it is, and let that person be me when it comes to studying the brain, mastering the brain, and teaching others to do the same so that people in the world will forever be changed. And so my perspective is this. To be forward thinking is to set your real leader brain in motion beyond the moment. You don't just walk into the future, you shape it, you create it. So it's beyond the moment. So when you are in a comfort zone, you're just thinking about the moment. But when you are growing every single day and learning, you're thinking about the future. Now, you're not worrying about the future. You're not ruminating, oh my God, what if this doesn't work? That's not what's taking place. You are clearly visualizing what is going to take place. And then you take actions daily to get to that 1-year plan, that 5-year plan, that 10-year plan. And when you get there, you won't be shocked by it because you're preparing today to already be there. And now you're there, you just go, okay, next, let me plan the next 5 years. Let me plan the next 10 years. And so you're always constantly growing and changing and learning and developing. And you have these nice little reward circuits that happen along the way with this natural release of dopamine. So you don't want to do anything but be neural clear. You don't desire comfort. I actually do not desire to be comfortable. Comfort is boring for me. So I don't. I can take a break. I can play some Connect 4, interact with Noah, play cards, go walk, go do something. But I don't need to be in a comfort zone because then I'm going to experience comfort pains. And then I'm going to feel like the one thing that I will say is the reason why I never liked comfort zones is because I'm a leader and I want to lead for change. And so I don't like things happening to me and I didn't get a say in it. So it's like, but then you don't have to think. But I like thinking. I like being in charge and responsible for my own life and my own existence. I like that. I don't like being told, well, this is how it is and it's not going to change. It's not going to change for y'all. Twice in my career at Frito-Lay, when I first got there, it was 8 of us waiting for Larry to retire on first shift. And I was sitting in the cubes with them and I said, but then 7 of us are still going to be on second shift. And so we had 2 options, well, 3. Wait for Larry to retire, who had already retired and came back. So you get on first shift in PC, potato chips, because they were making money. Stay on second shift or go to the warehouse where careers die. And Josh left the warehouse and went to traffic. And I said, I'll take that second shift position. And my career did go die. And Bo got mad at me and decided they was going to start a union. And I came back off maternity leave and I was almost at 1.5 feet out the door about to be fired. And then I became the best resource they ever had in that building. So much so that I got double the pay raise. So I had a choice. Stay on second shift in our comfort zone, wait for Larry to retire, or go to the warehouse where careers go to die. Now, after I left the warehouse, because when I came back from maternity leave, they didn't even want me in the plant. So Bill Campbell said she can come to traffic. And then I went to traffic and did all these amazing things. And then the new managers that got hired, they was like, I want to come to traffic. You don't have to wear steel-toe shoes and you get to wear your nails and all this stuff. And they saw my then, but they didn't understand what my before photo looked like. And so everybody wanted to do that. But I was the first woman, African-American woman to manage the drivers in the history of that plant being there in 40 years. So those were growing pains. But all people saw was me coming in with my civilian clothes on because you didn't have to wear a uniform, my sandals and everything. But they didn't understand what it took and that I had to grow through the warehouse. And literally in the plant, you literally got to walk through the warehouse to get to the traffic center because it's outside. No one understood that. And they just saw, well, now you get to go and wear your own clothes. But they weren't willing to go through the warehouse to get to traffic. That's my whole point. And they continued to complain. Some of the other managers left the organization. In fact, before I did, but they did not want to get out of that comfort zone. They just wanted Larry to retire so they could be on first shift, and that's that. And so that's what's taking place for people, is you're sitting in your comfort zone and then you're mad because Larry won't retire, even though only one of y'all can get the job, and you don't want to be uncomfortable in the warehouse either. That's just not how life works. So you either gonna have comfort pains or you're gonna have growing pains, but you're gonna be in pain because one will help you grow and the other one will help you stay stuck. And when you think about muscles and they get really stuck, or you think about stretching, and stretching so you can be flexible is tough too, but then you become even more and more flexible and you can do all of these things that you couldn't do because you're flexible. When you stay in a comfort zone, you become inflexible and fixed, and now you're just in pain because you've been sitting in a comfort zone like this. But all of that could change because the brain is actually a muscle, and the more you use it, the more you use it. So what questions do you have about the 6 ways to be forward thinking, or the definition of forward thinking, or any thoughts, anything that has popped up in your head, any aha moments? Feel free we can discuss that as I switch over to the real leader brain. Great analogy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jared is thinking. Boom, boom, boom. I'm itching. I put lotion on. You are. No questions. I had thoughts we can discuss after the live. Ideas for you. Yes, ma'am. You need to be your biggest fan. You do. You need to believe in yourself, which is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And that's hard to do. And I will admit that it has been trying times, and this is going to bother me because it's on my phone. Okay. Here's the thing. And I think it's in 3 Feet from Gold, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it's page 121, 123, somewhere around there. Jared, if you message me right now, I can tell you what page it's on, because that's another book that you can read. But if you just message me 3 Feet from Gold, I will go find that book and tell you what I'm about to tell you now, because I'm about to paraphrase. Is not going to be correct. So in 3 Feet from Gold, this is when was it Stephen Covey? No, it's not. Who is it, Nola? Who wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teens and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? He when he was struggling, he literally wrote his wife a letter and he said, I just need you to tell me that I'm doing good, even if it's not true in this moment. I just need basically somebody to believe in me, because I can't do that right now. I don't have the ability to believe in myself right now. So just tell me I'm doing a good job. And so it gets very difficult when you're forward thinking because you can't see it. Napoleon Hill, 3 Feet from Gold is the book, Napoleon Hill. And it gets very difficult. And so I watched I think it's 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, 8 seasons, whatever it is. And at the end, they asked Arya what was she going to do. And she said, I'm going to go where the maps end. Now that was like, you doing what? You going, I'm going to go where the maps end. And so you don't know what's out there where the maps end, because the maps end. And when you're forward thinking, the maps they've ended, and now you're thinking of something else. So when I became a DTM, that was simple, because how to become a DTM was in the back of every Toastmasters manual. You sit down with a mentor because you have to have somebody to sponsor your project while you're working on your DTM. All of that is simple because it's there. But this thing that I'm working on now isn't here. What is here is emotional dysregulation in 5.9 billion people. That's what I can see. And so faith is the substance of hope for, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. Regardless of what your religious preference is, faith means I believe in something that's not here and it can be here, regardless of what it is. I believe in that. And so I believe that 5.9 billion people, because they have 86 billion neurons, have the ability to create emotional regulation so that they can understand how their brain functions, so that they can function themselves. But I'm up against Amy and Lala. I'm up against hardwired negativity bias. I'm up against hijacked amygdalas and language barriers. So that can be deflating. That can cause me to not be able to believe in myself because it's me and my daughter and my amazing brain and her amazing brain. So that I have to be forward thinking, and I got to believe in myself. That's why that principle is there, because I got to believe that I have the neurological ability. Doesn't matter that I'm not a neuroscientist, a neurologist, a psychiatrist, or a psychologist, and this is my first brain class ever. That doesn't matter. What matters is that I believe that when I study the brain, master the brain, and teach others to do the same, the people in the world will forever be changed. And some days I got to say that when I wake up, I got to say it in the shower, I got to say it while I'm washing dishes, while we're silent in appointments, because otherwise I can stop believing in me. I can stop being forward thinking. Somebody pops off on the live, something happens, people don't subscribe or whatever it is that's taking place in that day. I thought it was going to go this way, the live went that way, and now I'm like, damn, this shit is hard as hell because it's not here yet. It's not here yet. So everything that you all get to experience, I already created it. But think about it, 12,000 videos, 16,000 posts weren't here. And now they are. So you wake up and you're a subscriber and there's a question for you. There's a graphic for you. There's a video for you. There's a presentation on YouTube or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok for you, but it wasn't here. And that's the part about being forward thinking. If you're forward thinking about something that exists, it's still going to be challenging because you still have to do it. But when you get to self-actualization, now is none of this shit is here. None of the maps ended. So how do you continue to be forward thinking about something that isn't actually you? I can't go anywhere and visualize 5.9 billion people being emotionally dysregulated. I can't see that. And no one else has said, yeah, let's just make everybody start using their brain. That's not what's happening. So I just have to believe in myself every day and say, incremental steps, baby steps, it's working. It's working. It's working. Look what they're doing in the chat. Look at what's happening over here. It's working. Now, you said, happy to be me said, I have not had so much brain fog since I have been with you. So is brain fog a result of the comfort zone? They sell us stuff for that. Does the brain exercise get rid of that? On who? Me? Personal accountability? On who? On me. Personal accountability. Yes. So what you're experiencing is cognitive overload. Brain fog means that you can't think straight. So you can't access it. Cognitive overload is, man, this is a lot for me to process. And then you process it. So I believe what you're saying is, and they sell us stuff for that. Does the brain exercises get rid of that? Supplements are there to make you believe that all you have to do is take the supplement and it's going to work. That's not what's actually going to work. You actually have to do the neurological work, and the supplements are replacing what you did neurologically. So it's like if you physically work out, you drink a protein shake because you worked your muscles out and now the protein is feeding the muscles. That's the same thing for the brain supplements. If you didn't do a cognitive workout, the supplements don't have shit to attach to. I don't have slow brain like you. Okay. So that's what's actually taking place. So does everyone understand what I'm saying? Being forward thinking is simpler to do if something is already here. I'm going to go to school to get my degree. A lot of people have degrees. You can see that. Go get my doctorate. But there's going to come a point in your life when you become self-actualized and you're working on your personal legend, and then the map's in. And at that point, you are going to need superhuman prefrontal cortex strength and a lot of rah-rah, sis, boom, bah, to Jared's point, believing in yourself, because your hippocampus is going to have to remind you, remember that time you did this and it didn't exist? Remember that time you did this and it didn't exist? But the first time you build something that didn't exist, you just going to have to say, I had previous success. So if I had success for things that did exist, I can have success with this thing that didn't exist because I still got 86 billion neurons. That's what's going to take place at some point in the future for you. Now, brain bit for today is, thank you for that too, and happy to be me. Let me know if I answered your question. Brain bit, your brain as a crutch. So think of your brain like a crutch. A crutch helps you move when you're hurt, but it's not designed to replace your legs forever. I said, what now? So it's designed for you to be able to move when you are hurt, but it is not designed to replace your legs forever. My pleasure. So it is temporary support. It's temporary. A crutch is temporary support. So your brain sometimes leans on old habits, shortcuts, and coping mechanisms when you're tired, stressed, or uncertain. Your brain sometimes leans on old habits, shortcuts, and coping mechanisms when you're tired, stressed, or uncertain. Let me write this down. Okay, when I was in Al Anon, we had the halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, sit on your hands. If you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, sit on your hands. If you are hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, sit on your hands. Right. And so what's taking place is now something happens. Amy and Lala get we gotta do something, and then you go and get your crutch. You go and get your crutch, your old habit, your shortcut, your coping mechanisms, and it happens when you're tired, you're stressed, or you're uncertain because your brain isn't functioning at optimal level. Now you have false security. So just like overusing a crutch can weaken your muscles, over relying on mental crutches, excuses, negative thinking, and procrastination, and remember, do it now, is one of the 74 principles of real leadership because procrastination is the enemy, can weaken your growth. Can weaken your growth. That is what's taking place. So the crutch is there for temporary relief to get you back strong again. You're just using it until something heals. But when you keep going back to it, you impact your ability to grow. And that's when you start decorating the comfort zone. Next, you strengthen. It is a strength builder. When used correctly, your brain's crutches, your routines, your reminders, and your structures or your systems give you stability until you're strong enough to walk in confidence on your own. And that's what I was saying about the book 3 Feet from Gold. He wrote the wife the letter because he needed her to be the crutch just for him to get through that moment in his life. That's different than saying, I'm going to use this crutch. We talked about that on the TikTok live this morning. People, places, and things that are your crutches. And now you just keep depending on them. And now it's weakening you because now you need your crutch. It wasn't there for the moment. It wasn't temporary. Now it's permanent. And it's stopping you from growing through your actual next growth opportunity pain. So the takeaway is this. You use mental crutches as temporary aids, not permanent solutions. Real leadership means building the strength to walk without them. And so real leaders learn to release their crutches to build the muscles, the mental muscles for resilience, personal accountability, and to become self-reliant. That's what's taking place. That's what's taking place. That's what's happening. So the crutches, the comfort crutches, cause you to go sit in your comfort zone, and then you just seek pleasure because growing pains are too much. But now you're experiencing comfort pains, and that's why even though you seeking pleasure every day in your comfort zone, you still in pain. You just in comfort pain instead of growing pain. And so the benefit of growing pains is that you open up your brain to unlimited possibilities. When you sit in your comfort zone, your brain is atrophied by the nanosecond, and now you can't think your way out of a wet paper bag, but your comfort zone looks really pretty from the outside. Okay, great. My pleasure. Yes. Nope, you can't pay somebody else to do the work. You have to do the work yourself. So, in the time that we have left, here's what I would like for you to assess and be honest, because that's one of the 74 principles of real leadership. What you are assessing is, do you have any comfort crutches? So, that's people, places, or things. So, they're not temporary, they're permanent. And when shit get tight, you go grab them doggone crutches. And then, are you sitting in your comfort zone? Are you sitting in your comfort? Do you have your crutches right by you under your arms, then swinging your feet in your comfort zone? So, do you have any comfort crutches? And then, are you in your comfort zone seeking pleasure daily? And the answers can be no. You can say, no, I don't have any crutches, or I have one crutch, but I'm not sitting in my comfort zone. I have two crutches, whatever that is. Assess what your crutches and your comfort are. I have my crutches, my ex. I keep grabbing her back to feel safe, but then we break up, and since we are not compatible, I think that's what mine is. Okay, that's an honest assessment. Yes, I do. I'm pushing towards the pain now. And pain, if growing pains are worth it. And in my book, I talk about the example that I use for Grow Continually is a toddler teething. And we've all been toddlers before. And so what happens is the toddler's like, and you putting the Absol on there, you giving it a little teething ring. Old folks say put a little alcohol, little liquor on there. Baby, just put a little Hennessy on there to get them. Don't do that. But the baby is, and Nola was good at teething until those eye teeth came in, and oh my goodness. And so the parents are stressed, everybody is stressed, but the baby's teeth just has to grow. And then once the teeth are in, now it's time for solid food. And they're like, oh, you mean I got to eat those mushed up ass apricots no more? What is this, chicken? I'm like, okay. I see why I had to grow through that. That makes sense. And so no one can help the baby. We can give it a little bit of relief, but the teeth just have to come in. And that's what growing pains are, the benefit of having those teeth after they're in. And now we don't even think about teeth until then start talking about, well, you got to take some of your teeth. But before that, you take care of them, you're good. And now you have this amazing benefit. And that's what's happening is your growing pains are your growing pains. And you're the only one who can grow through them. No one else can grow your growing pains for you. Okay. No crutches or comfort zone for Nola. And then Lammy, my ex, and maybe waking up late and explaining in a way saying I need rest and 8 hours of sleep. And why not? Only those. You may not actually need 8 hours of sleep. Yes, Nola is my offspring, Lamé. So, or Lammy. I'm phonetically spell it so I can spell it correctly, say it correctly. I don't mean to butcher your name at all. It's not my intent. So Nola is my daughter, and we'll be live today if you're available, depending on where you are, at 5 o'clock p.m. because she talks about how she didn't used to use the principles of real leadership or none of this, even as my offspring, and what happens what has taken place now that she's actually using them. And she has mental illness too, so that's a bonus because people with mental illness believe that it's not working. Bridget, my husband is my comfort crutch. I am in my comfort zone, but I am not sitting anymore. I'm standing at the door about to walk through. All right, now come on out of there. And you can relate since my ex, but I think enough is enough now. It is. I am saying it correctly. Lammy, I think. Nola, 5 p.m. PST. Thank you. And Jared said, I'm getting natural dopamine from pushing through my comfort zone. Lammy. Okay, great. And welcome. And so thank you for being honest. Being honest is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. And the reason why I had you do that is so that based upon Hebb's law, fire and wire, when neurons fire and wire, they connect, they release a neurotransmitter from that synaptic connection through the receptors. And then what happens if you keep doing it over time, you create a neural pathway and you strengthen that neural pathway, and then it becomes a habit in the basal ganglia. And now you have that habit, whether it's good or bad. And so by using the 74 principles of real leadership, you are strengthening your muscles, your real leader brain muscles. That's what's actually taking place. So you become very, 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 very strong. And if you look at the crutch, so look at the graphics today. You could be forward thinking, or you could be using your brain as a crutch. You see the difference in the posture? One is looking down, it's hunched over. The other one is standing up and looking through a telescope and looking forward to the future, and the other one is sitting there just barely getting by. Fair to middling is what they used to say back in the day. And happy to be me. I am so new. I'm starting to work through this pain. My husband said this morning he will work with me because he sees me moving, and I think he secretly likes it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? It's perfect. If you have the actual person there, it's nothing like having somebody that's actually there supporting you for real through your real growth and development. It is a beautiful, amazing thing. Okay, so we're coming to a close this morning, and I have the normal 3 questions for you today. Question number 1, what did you learn today? Question number 2, what did you learn about yourself? And question number 3, What brain conversation did you have to yesterday? What brain conversation did you have yesterday? So what did you learn today? What did you learn about the brain? No. What did you learn today? What did you learn about yourself? And what brain conversation did you have yesterday? I'm hungry this morning. I did not get a chance to drink my Ensure. I am not promoting Ensure from a sponsorship perspective, but this is great meal replacement. I've been drinking Ensure since like 2005. And I've watched the price go up because it was like $6 back then. Now it's anywhere from $9.47 at Target to almost $12 at Smith's. All right, Noah said my brain conversation is just idea for the Real Leader brand. Yes, ma'am. And Bridget is thinking. Nola, I learned crutches are supposed to be short term. Yes, you drink Ensure. I only like the vanilla. I tried the chocolate and the butter pecan. I'm like, this just tastes like baby formula. Don't be adding nothing to it. I just drink the vanilla. And I just hurry up and get it in. Like baby formula for adults. And I do have the answer about, I think I'm going to share it tomorrow, the difference between reading a physical book, listening to an audio book, and reading an electronic book. So Chat and I had a conversation this morning in between lives. All right, Lammy, crutches are not going to be permanent and going to leave me now. Sply my ex, and also I need to have brain conversations. This is my first day here and already so productive. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, so you just start having conversations with people about the brain so that more people that you interact with will start focusing on their brain too. Jared said, I learned that I need to get rid of crutches as soon as possible, ASAP. Noah said, I learned about myself. If it doesn't take me a lot to come up with an idea once I'm in flow, and I'm in flow, I think forward all the time. That is correct. And did you ask about listening to it and reading at the same time? No, Jared, I did not. Give me a second on that. Listening to it and reading it at the same time. All right, I will add that to the thing. And I will put that on the separate side. All right. I took in a lot. I learned, don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. I think that's what you're saying. Discomfort. So if everybody could, word choice matters. Word choice matters a lot. And so you feel double focused when I do. Okay, cool. We're going to find out. So discomfort. So word choice matters. As you continue to strengthen your prefrontal cortex and increase your personal lexicon, the words that you say to yourself and to others matter. So Amy and Lala like comfort. And so when you say uncomfortable, they already know how to process that. But when you say discomfort, they don't know, because it's like this, what do I do with that? So when you say I want to experience discomfort, I'm going to grow continually and experience that pain, it kind of tricks them, and they don't know what to do with that. So they can't really try to release cortisol and stop you, because they're not smart enough to know that that means the same thing. So, or similar. So yes, I was reading Alex's book today. He also mentions listening and reading at the same time. And then Daisy said, I'm learning about how to use my brain. Brain fog and procrastination gets in the way a lot. Yes, discomfort over uncomfortable. And then today my crutch has left, so it's on me now. About myself, it feels good to move. Yesterday I learned how to answer your questions in the group chat, and I enjoyed it. And what you had was you actually created your own natural nucleus accumbens dopamine release reward loop. And I know as a wordsmith, that was a lot. But there's a difference between manufactured dopamine and natural dopamine. And so manufactured dopamine is an external stimuli that you are seeking because it's coming from an external source. And so it's like added sugar. Ooh, I want that. That's so good. That tastes so good. But added sugar is bad for you. Whereas natural dopamine is a reward loop that you create yourself, and it's like just picking up a piece of fruit and eating it. It tastes better, it's good for you, and you benefit from its nutrients. So that's why you subscribe and you get a message from me, and then I instruct you to go and be a part of the Real Leader Group and the other groups, but Real Leader Group is private for your subscription, is because you are going to create that reward loop. And I could tell you all day long, you're going to benefit from it, you're going to benefit from it, you're going to benefit from it. But it's like having a baby. Until you have a baby yourself, you don't know what that feels like. But once you're in there, then you want to come back. And then the interaction there, because of Embrace Diversity, is all these different age groups, different ethnicities, sexual orientation, religious preferences, and all that's mixed up in there like a real leader gumbo. You have this other world experience that you can't really describe. You just tell people you just got to experience it for yourself. And so, Alami, you said, is there like an affirmation I can use to kickstart my brain out of inertia and get moving like a brain? No, I'm getting ready to send. I got to take my shower, and then you're going to get messages from me. You said you subscribed on Instagram. You're going to get messages from me, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do and how the frequency and everything. And then you're just going to have to start doing the work. So basically a brain workout every single day throughout your day. And then it will naturally disappear. So it's not going to just go away today, but you will go from neurotoxicity, which is what you are in right now, brain fog, toxic, everything up here. And the objective is to get the neural clear. And you're going to do it one post at a time, one action at a time. And then your brain, the fog and everything will be gone. You're just going to wake up. It takes about 8 days to create new neural pathways, but every day throughout the day, and I got thousands of pieces of content, so you're not going to run out. There's no way you're going to be able to see it before I create more of it. It's not going to happen. It's 16,000 posts on Instagram alone, and 100 highlights going across, and 12,000 YouTube videos. So just think of walking into the best mental library you possibly can times 10, and that's my content. Bridget, I am a forward thinker, but I need to stop doubting myself the closer I get to those goals. Brain conversations with my cousin who just accepted she has mental health issues. Well, Bridget, tell your cousin to be on the live today at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time so that Nola can, I forgot what we're talking about today. I think it's number 5. We was doing solicit feedback last. Give me 1 second. Be coachable. Solicit feedback. We are talking about eliminate the clutter in your life, which is apropos. So 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Instagram, we will be live for 30 minutes. And we'll be talking about eliminate the clutter in your life. So Bridget, if she can't, or they, I don't know, if they cannot attend, the live will then be in my feed on Instagram. And so I can send you the link once Instagram posted if they can attend, and then they will actually be able to rewatch it there. It'll be in the feed. All right. So very good live today. Thank you for all that you are saying. I'm getting information. I'm a walking algorithm. I take all that information in, just like Jared said, what's the benefits if you listen and read at the same time? And then we will take it from there. But the objective is for you, okay, great. The objective is for you to start working out. So as I mentioned, your Real Leadership membership is like a gym subscription. You're going to get into it what you put out of it. What you're going to get out of it, what you put into it. That's on you. But unlike the gym, I'm not going to keep taking your money. If you decide that you're not going to be strengthening your prefrontal cortex muscles, I'm going to decide for you, you're not going to have access to it. So just because you pay does not mean you get to stay. Somebody in September thought that, and they don't have access to nothing. And so I would tell you, if I ask you for your email address and I don't tell you any other reason why, I'm sending you a closeout survey. I'm giving you an opportunity to close out and say, well, fill it out, don't fill it out. But I'm basically telling you, this is you passed your 90 days. We called it putting you on track when we were at Frito-Lay, and know that you're not doing the work. I will send you messages, say, get in the chat, do this, where you been, and all of that. And then you will wake up one day and you will not have access to any of this at all. And I will continue to talk to the people who actually want to do the work. So sitting there doing nothing in your comfort zone with your comfort crutches, no, that's no brainer. So that's not going to happen. And I know that's a new experience for people, because you like, if I pay my money, I get that dog don't hunt over here. I'm serious about this, and you need to be just as serious about your own personal development and your own mental strength, because I know that you're just simply choosing comfort every day. You're choosing comfort pains instead of growing pains, and you're allowing all your crutches to be around you. And if you're going to do that, I don't want that energy inside affiliated with me anyway whatsoever, because it's toxic. So you got to go so we can keep growing. Letting you know that right now. Unless you have some health thing that just stops you from learning, growing, and development, we put a pin in it. We put a pause in it. But if you just waking up every day choosing pleasure, you got to go. You cannot stick around here. Somebody has to be the standard by which excellence is measured. Right now, low standards is too close to no standards across the world, and that's just quite frankly unacceptable for me. Set and maintain high standards is one of the 74 principles of real leadership. Inspect what you expect. That's why I'm checking in with you. And then be the best. Those are 3 principles of real leadership that need to be honored if you want to maintain strengthening your prefrontal cortex and being a bad mofo. If you don't want to do that, it's perfectly acceptable over there, not over here. So thank you for your time today. Give yourself a hand clap, a pat on the back, because you're doing this for you and for your mental strength and for you to tap into your own greatness. This is for you. That's what they told me the first day I went to my first Al-Anon meeting. I will be back tomorrow, God willing, higher power in the universe. Same time, same place, safe space, different brain t-shirt. You all go off and have a brain-tastic day. Take care.